Have you ever wondered why, despite all the noise of the world, you still feel a quiet pull inside? A call to become something greater than you are today. In a previous reflection, we explored how to unlock the power of Stoicism, the key to lasting success. We discovered that real strength doesn't come from wealth, applause, or temporary victories, but from mastering the mind and living in harmony with reason. But success is only part of the story. There's another, deeper journey waiting for us, the journey inward. And that's where this guide begins. Today, we shift our focus to something more personal, something more essential. Unlock your true self, a Stoic guide to self-discovery. Because what is the value of success if you don't truly know who you are? What good is discipline if you never pause to ask, what is it all for? The Stoics remind us that philosophy is not about memorizing lofty ideas, but about uncovering the person hidden beneath layers of fear, habit, and expectation. Over the next moments, we'll walk together through timeless lessons. Lessons that invite you not just to live better, but to live truer. To peel away the illusions and find the steady, unshakable self that has always been within you. So let us begin, not with the world outside, but with the world inside, where your truest strength and your truest self is waiting. Resist popular influence and make your own decisions. To answer the desires of the self, one must ask some of the most critical and philosophical questions humans have ever asked. To understand these philosophical questions, turn to one of the greatest philosophers, one of the founders of existentialism, Friedrich Nietzsche. He is known for his unconventional views on religion and morality, somehow managed to prove that he is a deep thinker with intricate insight into the psychology of humans and how people can take responsibility for their lives and shape their futures. He has written several books that have managed to shape the way psychologists, poets, dancers, and even social revolutionaries view the world. In his works, Nietzsche placed a lot of emphasis on discovering oneself as a primary pursuit and focus in life. Based on these philosophies, here are 4 steps that you may take towards closer self-realization. Nietzsche claims, what we've called global values, what we have referred to as truth, has ever only been the subjective interpretations of the people who subjugated them. Nietzsche was of the opinion that society's rigid frameworks resulted in what he referred to as a herd mentality. As herds of animals work towards seeking comfort and self-preservation, a herd mentality is geared towards accomplishing sameness. The same goes for society. The so-called moral code was constructed by a few and imposed to have dominion over social behavior. It may to some extent keep us safe from extreme forms of human aggression, but does severely curtail our self-expression and ingenuity. But more than that, the overbearing dogmatic scrutiny in which people's behavior is viewed may cause some individuals to become even more defiant, to the extent of developing aggressive antisocial behavior and, worse, violence. When the rules of such dictatorial boundaries become absurdly harsh, the response to this tyranny is often equally harsh. It is important to note that there can be 2 harsh extremes for societal moral codes. If society has no solid moral code, then passive people will not have too much power when trying to impose changes. In reality, morality is something that is guarded and controlled. This does not only stem from the religious, societal, or education systems. It is also prevalent in most people because they do not want to be secluded from a particular group and therefore tend to get ostracized. Hence, every individual that is different too much to dose groups is seen as someone dangerous. This is the other side of the coin of the phenomenon that individuals are afraid of the unknown. It is a strenuous fact to deny, but this can be observed in our ordinary life. Whether the Middle Ages or the current day era, this dynamic exists. It ranges from Galileo being killed for free will to you being bullied in school for being unique. The world is filled with people who have chosen to get rid of their dreams by amputating their creativity and goals, and in return feel insecure at the minimal exposure of these traits in others around them. Such people are terrified of any type of changes. They are afraid of accepting that some aspects of their strengths are still dormant. That realization can be a little frightening, but a self-driven person should not let himself get bogged down by the failures of others. The best option is going solo, abandoning the herd, and then making sure that the light that you shine is impossible to ignore. One of the starting points is challenging and getting rid of the negative voices that you grew up with. It makes no difference whether it was a parent, a stern teacher, or a narcissistic partner. Anyone who said that you are not able to do certain things, which you certainly were able to do, because they feared your success, which would unmask everything terrible about them. Hence, they wished to stifle your creativity and draw you back to the herd. Plus, having strong willpower is also very helpful when it comes to silencing the terrifying feeling of leaving the dreaded comfort zone, which is an essential aspect of discovering your true self. Accept the challenge of self-exploration. As Nietzsche said, no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Most people would rather escape pain and suffering. However, suffering is an inevitable aspect of life. With ease of accomplishing things through technology, we have become ungrateful, as reaching our goals is far too simplistic. Nevertheless, per Nietzsche, genuine self-growth occurs when we are prepared to confront life's problems. In 1873, at 29, Nietzsche approached this question in an essay called Schopenhauer as Educator. In this essay, the main argument is that every ambitious person who wishes to achieve something in life has to adopt the lonely strategy, and a reclusive existence is certainly a high cost to pay. Becoming a recluse is rather challenging, but it is one cost of the privilege of self-ownership, and thus must be accepted. To avoid being mentally devoured by the tribe, withdraw from them. You must humble yourself, and this will lead to suffering in your life. The path you tread must help you to gain your freedom, and you ought to embrace it irrespective of how frightening it may be. It also facilitates the absence of all psychological and physiological needs, so that you are actually in control of what you do rather than being controlled by them. As an example, whenever there is this strong emotional urge to do something, for example, to part a passionate survey over some topic, you need to first try and become consciously aware of that impulse. On Nietzsche, it becomes clear that the surge is very close to what many motivational gurus and so-called thought leaders say. But as usual, this assessment is superficial. The big problem with so-called motivational people is that they narrow self-leadership development to materialistic and relational level approach to life, while Nietzsche goes deeper. To him, the fight is an inner fight. The struggle is to find himself, and the quest is the battle. A battle of this kind can only be fought on the inside. This form of self-reflection is a lot more complex. For instance, if a motivational guru were to show you how to build more confidence to attract investors to your business, Nietzsche would tell you to delve into the root of why you would like to be confident in the first place. The desire to be confident usually stems from the need to show off to your friends and family, or the need to prove a point within society. If you deep dive into this and rationalize it, you will realize that self-discovery is what truly matters in life, and this can enable you to be more of a loner. If you wish to take the stance of not compromising yourself, it will inevitably give rise to conflict from those around you. Shifting your lifestyle through the abandonment of friendships and relationships for a chance to overcome your fears and strive to rationalize your deepest emotions is where the struggle lies. Your fears and overcome them. The chains of judgment and fear have to be shattered. Nietzsche advises, fight your own demons. He is right, although you should not exorcise them. There is a profound meaning beyond, which you have to try to comprehend. You need to go out there in the world, do stuff, encounter different vices, but be always aware at the back of your head, and finally, come out as someone who possesses a very distinct strength of character and a far richer inner self. If you do not go outside and fully partake in life, then you cannot claim you lived your life. The boundaries that can be reached are determined by the price you are willing to pay. To achieve self-ownership and avoid drifting aimlessly through life, you have to learn how to access your inner genius. To reach deep down, you have to take a step down a path that no one else has stepped on. You're unique, so no one can step on that path for you. Locating yourself is discovering the one set of things that you really admire and that define you. Say yes to what gives meaning to you. I would like to quote Nietzsche, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." Nietzsche's philosophy suggests we accept almost anything provided it offers meaning in our lives, things we value. In previous epochs, everything was guaranteed by God. But, as Nietzsche argues, in an exceptionally secular and scientifically oriented culture, one cannot look to religion for meaning. This worried him because the average individual, without assistance, would retreat to nihilism, which is an indifference and unwillingness to derive meaning from life. For this reason, he offers us 3 ways that we as people can attempt to find meaning in our lives. His primary suggestion was to get rid of religion and substitute it with philosophy, art, music, literature, theater, and the rest of the humanities, because they can offer as equal advantages. The favored enables us to frame our pains, our struggles, and enables us to see our lives in the lives of others. Insights are available on how we may approach challenges that we all have to deal with at one point or another. But of course, it is vital we view them as a means of living and not solely as an academic pursuit, reading history not purely for information, but what the information implies, as a means of learning something new, or even witnessing tragic plays to understand and appreciate the beauty of sorrowful things, rather than for just mere amusement. If humanistic subjects are not your thing, then a second alternative of becoming an Übermensch is propounded by Nietzsche. An Übermensch is a self-determining superhuman that dismisses value constructs from the society. This type of person can easily solve the problem regarding life's meaning by creating his own meaning and taking absolute ownership of it. A very small number of men, according to Nietzsche, came closest to being an Übermensch, which happens to be Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, the Buddha, and Goethe. As for us humans, we could attempt to uncover some value in thinking deep down within ourselves and finding out what we genuinely cherish and what we are brainwashed into liking by social constructs. For Nietzsche, the ongoing unfolding of humanity's story is an important one to engage with, as it provides us the opportunity to step into it and change things for the better. Suppose becoming a superhuman is a little too much to ask for. In that case, self-love, no matter what, is another tool Nietzsche provides in aid to help us construct meaning in our life. Matters of fate is perhaps one of Nietzsche's most comforting ideologies, which enables us ease during trying times. To love your fate is to know that fate forces you to acknowledge that all events in your life, irrespective of whether they are favorable or unfavorable, coexist together, and eventually helped shape you into the being you manifest at the present moment. Attempting to build a self-identity will prompt you towards a good amount of failure. However, Nietzsche hopes you'll choose to cherish those failures, along with the success, for in doing so, you will once again find joy in life and the ever-challenging search for meaning even in unfavorable situations. Discover what truly matters to you. Imagine a demon whispers to you saying, "This life as you know it, you will have to live through and over again," Nietzsche says. If you were to hear such a thing, would you not gnash your teeth and curse this very demon? According to Nietzsche, values should be created rather than adopted. They help you lift the greatest weight. The best burden is a metaphoric situation put forth by Nietzsche. It describes the feeling where one is stuck in a loop of past mistakes due to unquestioned values one adopts from others could indicate suffering if unchecked. With this perspective in mind, Nietzsche encourages you to ask whether what you are doing is something you consider inherently important or merely to please your spawn of a herd. If you believe to the utmost that your actions are filling and claiming to repeat them willingly is a show of extreme individuation, then you are prepared to carry the best burden. If you are anything but constructive, the breed of life you've chosen will never allow you to transcend the bounds of civilization. It is likely that you have not cultivated your own values and that you remain a prisoner of your society first and foremost, but also of yourself. If you find yourself trapped in a cycle of repeating the same mistakes as before, feeling absolutely defeated, then it is quite apparent that you have not reassessed the morals ingrained in you. Hence, you have not fully developed as an individual, not yet. Only after re-evaluating the moral landscape, the greatest weight can be lifted. How many times have you caught yourself looking the other way when someone is gaslighting you just so you didn't have to confront him? Or how many times have you recalled your friend, or even yourself saying, "I'm with the same person, having the same issues"? If you were your own, with your own set of morals, you wouldn't find yourself stuck in toxic relationships just because that's how it's supposed to be. It's society's way of trying to induce guilt in someone who wants to be a good person. It's clear that you are a victim of adversity-determined actions. Nietzsche states, "In every little thing, ask yourself, do you desire this once more and innumerable times over? How many times did you ask yourself if you personally are of any value? If the answer is no, then that indicates that there is a requisite shift in your self-perception, and once the shift is carried out, true elevation can be experienced. Any true good that exists goes beyond accepted definitions of good and evil. Most live life in a self-imposed prison. Primitive jail cells are predefined by social norms that curtail the wild and deeply individualistic tendencies of human beings. A good number of people succumb to this cage's comforting embrace. Nietzsche's insight of forced belief systems is powerful because it shows that people are capable of overcoming these mentally restrictive beliefs. If you want to liberate yourself and form your own beliefs and purpose of life, this internal transformation, this rebel phase of nuisance, needs to be gone through. That requires enormous amount of courage to defy traditions, religions, society, and in many cases, get away from certain friends and family. It does not have to be a rash and unrestrained response. It can and must be a strategic, composed, but still a firm one. Make a start by noting down people and things in your life that curb your self-expression. This might be a particularly strange custom of your office place, your spouse who wants to police you at all times, or perhaps your mates or your guardians condemn you for behaving a certain way. After doing so, consider how you might approach solving that situation. Perhaps one of them is talking to your spouse about the issue, or perhaps you discuss it with your colleagues or supervisors at a meeting, airing what the problems are, how it affects you, and what you would like to be different. Or you could make new friends who are better suited to you. When you feel like the greatest weight has begun to overtake you, instead of hiding your aspirations, consider breaking out from the herd-based, self-imposed prison and pursuing dreams that bestow meaning to your life. If you like this video, please check out the entire channel of Philosophies for Life, and for ancient philosophical wisdom videos to attain success and happiness, do remember to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.